Good morning. Good morning. And welcome to the Rick Helps Real Estate Show. I try to make sense of this crazy Arizona market so you can be armed with information and become a hit at all the cocktail parties. I'm sitting here at my desk. I've got a little chair here. It's got wheels on it. I'm not wearing any shoes yet. And I rolled forward and I ran over my little toe. It was a good thing I wasn't live. But hey, what about this weather? Before we get started, I want to talk about how you can determine your best offer price, not list price, but offer price. But I don't remember the weather ever being this crummy at the end of February. I mean, I thought my power was going to go out this morning, and it's pretty intense out there, and it's supposed to stay this way all day. Good morning, Jackie. We do have some comments already, kind of talking about how to look at prices, look at 60 to 90 days sold, closed transactions, and multiply it by square footage. I get that, but I'm going to talk today about offer prices. But before we get to that, let me show you what's going on today. And this kind of surprised me a little bit this morning. In 2005, was it that bad, Jackie? I was here. And in YouTube, my favorite YouTube name, and good morning, Mark and Keenan. I'm a snowboarder, so I love these winters. I'll bet it's supposed to be just dumping snow up in the White Mountains, up in by Sholo like crazy today. So, and if Tyler's on here, I'm curious to hear how bad the winds are down by Ensenada, because I was looking at the radar just east of Ensenada on the Baja. It looks like the winds were blowing out the charts. And I sent a text to my friend who's already in Rocky Point and said, "How bad are the winds?" He goes, "It's pretty bad." But check this out. I was not expecting this. Remember yesterday I said, new contracts went down and I expect them to because rates have gone up, and lo and behold, they popped right back up today. I'm like, what the heck happened? And weather's quiet. And you mean our wind isn't affecting you clear over there? So anyway, that took me by surprise. So I look it up every day. And as I go in the spreadsheet and I go into the MLS, I'm kind of getting used to what the numbers look like. And I just have my 10 key and tick, 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 tick. What? So I was really surprised. And Tyler says it's bad here. No bueno. I know. Just east of you, Tyler, it looks like it's just intense. And so good luck down there, batten down the hatches. So mortgage rates today, certainly not getting any better. We're sitting here at 6.87. Let me refresh this just to see if there's been any movement. And according to this, they said it's kind of moving slightly positive for the day. It's not reflecting it up here, but that's where we're at. So let me get to some stuff here talking about how to write an offer, because I always get this question. And the question is, well, what do you think I should offer? Well, first of all, if a real estate agent gives you a price, that's a great way to get sued. Because if you don't get the offer, well, Rick told me. And then now we can talk strategy. We can say, well, what do you think? Well, I think we should be at 510. Okay, well, that might be a little low. It might be okay. We can certainly try it. Do you have another number in mind just in case? Conversations like that. But when you look at stats, so in December, homes that sold got 3.5% less than their last listing price. In January, they got 2.8% less than their last listing price. Now, why am I doing this? Well, people always start out here and lay lower, lower, and lower, and then they accept an offer that's on average 2.8% less than their listing price. Where they started is kind of the rub. So you'll see a house that it's on the market, and I always pick the $500,000 price range. It's on for $500,000. It's only been on the market 4 days. They're not going to budge. But then again, that $500,000, is it priced right? Maybe they didn't start out hot. Maybe the house is worth $550,000. And maybe they will get a lot of offers on the first weekend. I've seen that a lot. Now, if they've been on the market for 30 days, then that 500 is out the window. Do you wait for their price reduction and then come in? Or do you offer them a lower price at that point? So you have to look at all these different variables if you're going to write an offer. If they come in and they've only been on the market less than a week and you want to write them an offer that's 10% below their list price, I guarantee you they're not going to take it, because people get very married to their list price and they want to stay there and give it enough time to see if it's going to get any action. And for the first 10 days, they're not in panic mode yet. They're not willing to accept your 10% below. But them and the lister and the agent probably have a strategy that says, okay, well, after 2 weeks, how far down do you want to go? Do you want to go down another 5,000? Do you want to lower it by 10? What price do you think we need to get attention if we don't have any activity for 2 weeks? And that's how they end up getting at the final list price. But you can go in and you can look at a home and say, okay, it's 500,000. So you and your agent should do some real due diligence to say what has closed in that area. And that goes back to the first comment that we had. What's closed 30, 60, 90 days out. 90 days out, you can throw out now because the market is so radically different. But you can get a good idea. And yeah, you can look at price per square foot and you can see whether they're in line or out of line. If they're out of line, then you have no choice but to wait, because again, they're not going to accept your offer right off the bat. If they're in line or it looks like they're a little below market, might want to make a move. Now, the average seller is contributing almost $10,000 in closing costs or interest rate buy downs right now. That's the average. So some of the listing prices have that taken into consideration, knowing that they're going to have to contribute something to get a contract. So if I'm going to go in and I'm looking at 500,000 and I can see that it's been on the market for 2 days and I've pulled comps and it's 550, it's time to have a serious conversation if you want to write an offer. If I see it's 500,000 and my comps are telling me it's 475, I'd sit on my hands. Then when it gets to 475, or if they get to 495, then you're pretty good at coming in with a lower price than that. But the market's not quite as desperate enough for you to get your real lowball offer to get any attention right now. Now, if you're going to list your home, what do? Well, obviously you look at past sales, but you have to look at the trend. Where is real estate going? Where is inventory? Are current listing prices going up or are they going down? Because if you simply just take an average and punch it in, that's probably not going to be your number. Good morning, Commander. A real estate agent continually tried to add homes that were active listings, many more than 90 to 100 days on market, to the list of comps. He and I disagreed. Active listings are not comparable. They are not. Good point. Active means nothing. It's closed is what you want to look at. That's wish pricing. I hope I get this. That's not a comp. So I'm glad you pushed back. That's not the way to look at it. And if you're a seller, I caution people, do some real due diligence with your agent. Look at comps, sold listings. Don't even count pending listings because you still don't see the price. They might have it at 500,000. It says pending, but they might have accepted an offer for 480. You don't know till it closed. So closed is the only one. Look at closed. Look at where the market is trending. Are we projected to be up 1.5% this month or down 1.5? Take that into consideration, because that closed listing, that contract was written probably 30 to 45 days ago. So if we've gone down 1% from that and they sold for 500,000, then you need to come down. Now, Jackie says it helps to look at under contract backups pending. Call the agents of those. Yeah, you can call them and you can ask them questions. They really sometimes won't give you the price. You can say, you don't have to reveal the price, but did you get your list? And they'll say, well, no, or, well, yeah. Or actually, we had a couple offers above list. So you have to do your due diligence with your agent, and just don't make it a Zillow says, because you'll get burned every time. The other thing I caution sellers on when you list, don't be emotionally attached to that price, because you'll just be setting yourself up for disappointment. Now, when we look at our prices right now, and there's been a lot of conversations out there about, oh, investors are going to dump their properties now. And I'm pushing back going, no, they're not. As long as they got good cash flow. And you look right here and you see that the median price has come down. But keep in mind, The majority of our investor traffic was right here at 3%. They're in great shape. Why would they dump their homes if they're sitting on free money and they have good cash flow? Yes, the median sales prices are going down, but it's not affecting these people right here because they have every day their balance is going down because they have such a low interest rate, and the balance is going down because the renters are paying that payment. So they have good cash flow. So there isn't a huge number of people that would have to bail under this situation. Will there be people that have to get out here? Probably. I mean, somebody that bought at the peak here and they were barely making cash flow, and now they see that things are going down. Are they going to try and get out? Well, they probably can't without losing a ton of money. So they may just say, I thought I was going to make 800 or 500 a month on this thing. Now I'm only going to make 100, or I'm going to be in the hole by $100. You can still take that and say that works out okay. It's like $100 a month investment while you build equity and then wait for rents eventually to come back up. Now, when you're pricing your home for sale right now, keep in mind that many people bought way back here. So don't get caught up in where the prices were on the peak. Just remember that we had a huge run up right here. So the majority of you have a lot of equity and room to wiggle. But once we see that peak number, we want to hang on to it. That's the money I'm going to get. I'm staying there no matter what. And you have to be careful because it's what I call being emotionally attached to the number. And Jason here says, early bird gets the worm. Good morning. Hi, Jason. Welcome. We have Seattle weather down here today. Commander says also can't use Zillow's estimate and can't use Zillow to pull recent solds because you can't see the concessions. Need a good agent to derive the full picture. Concessions are the name of the game right now. Zillow's not going to show you that. Actually, the MLS doesn't show you that by transaction. I mean, you got to do a little deep dive, but nothing wrong with calling the agent going, what'd you have to give up? But Zillow doesn't show you that. In fact, any online value, you go to my website, rickhelps.com, what's my home worth? It isn't going to mean diddly squat because it's just going to pick averages. With investor loans under 3.5, the pay down in principal happens quickly. So even those that paid in high 2021 have paid down the loan quite a bit. I don't see a wholesale listing of investors. Now, we've read articles that said investor purchases are down 74%. Of course they are. Mortgage rates have gone up. You just saw they're 6.87. Investors are going to sit on their cash and they're going to wait. So they have bailed and moved to other markets. But the ones that have already purchased have no reason to put their homes back on the market. They're making good cash flow and they're building equity. So I just push back on that narrative. Running it out, dude, number of homes on Zillow are vacant. Would you think these sellers will become desperate as they are paying mortgage, HOA, taxes on a vacant home? It all depends. It's house by house. If you're vacant and you're footing the whole bill, then yeah, you're pretty anxious to get out of it. Unless it's a relo. Sometimes when you have a relocation, the company owns the house and is making the payments for you. And so it might be vacant, but you're not on the hook for the mortgage. There's a lot of different reasons why a home would be vacant. Keller Williams, president, came out and said 2023 will be a very hard year in real estate, talking for agents. And he gave some advice on how to add value. But one of the things that he said here that got my attention, you're not going to see 3% interest rates again in your lifetime. My guess is you'll never see 4% in your lifetime, said Keller. I think I might have mumbled that a couple days ago. So another news locally here. Looks like Rio Verde Foothills is going to get some relief from Scottsdale. The latest update says the Scottsdale City Council members have approved a proposal that would, according to officials, reopen a supply of water for people in Rio Verde Foothills area. Under the 3-year deal, Scottsdale would treat water from a third-party source and Maricopa County would deliver it to Rio Verde homes. It would be paid for by county fees and impact about 1,000 residents. If water is reduced for any reason, including drought, the city will reduce deliveries to Rio Verde foothills. Now, during this 3-year period, it's likely that EPCOR will start building their infrastructure to provide water to Rio Verde foothills. So it looks like the crisis is averted for now, and that's a good thing because they were trying to figure out what's going on up there, and they were out of water, my friends. I mean, they're all getting it trucked in. A lot of them didn't bother digging wells; they just had water trucked in, and you have a big storage tank behind your house. And Scottsdale said, "Well, since you're not putting the water back in the system for us to recapture it, we can no longer provide it for you." And Jason here says Pierce County inventory peaked at 2.5 months in November, with new listings running at only 140 a week. We're already back to only 1.5 inventory, 1.5 months inventory. Our inventory is higher, Jason, but I can see what you guys are putting up with out there. Let me see if I can look up what our months of supply is here. It is, says there 3.4. Yeah, no, a little lower than that. Right there, 3.3. Oh, whoopee, 3.4 to 3.3. So we're higher, but it is nothing like high rates now to make people sit on their hands. Like, I'm not selling now. I'm sitting here at 3%. I'm not going to get me one of them good old 6.87 rates. And we call that rate lock. We speculated about how much of that will be going on, but man, it's happening. Kina says, you'll have to do an episode on where to list your price in today's market. Well, yeah, I'll see if I can put something together for you on that. We can go step by step and take a look. And if you're a real estate agent out there, join me. Let's have an active discussion. We know, what is your method? What do you look at? And we can help people on this show try and figure out the best price instead of just what Rick says. And I'm not trying to chicken out there, but I think, greater minds, more people just kind of sharing what they know is pretty helpful. So we are, I do have a video that I presented. I haven't got it uploaded and ready to go yet, but I looked at one of those build to rent communities and really close to downtown Gilbert. And then I did a little drive through around downtown Gilbert for some of you that don't know the area and showed what's going on in that market. So I'm looking forward to that one coming out. It's what we call boots on the ground. Sound familiar, Jackie? We had that guy from Texas come up. Everybody's going, I love all this boots on the ground analysis. There was no analysis. It's just, look, there's a lot of houses for sale. And speaking of that, I want to read something here that says, talking about sellers, don't be fooled by this seller's market. It's nothing like the seller's market of early 2022. Sellers may notice there's less pressure for a price reduction as there are few new listings entering the market. And there were only 9,664 new listings added since the beginning of 2023, the lowest number of new listings measured in at least, get this, 23 years. So they're just not coming on. And there was some numbers here talking about employment. And we were seeing here that the latest report for Arizona showed an increase of 93,700 jobs for the state over the course of 2022. In Maricopa County, the unemployment rate went from 3.1 in January to 2.7 by the end of December, continuing to outperform national measures. Even as the labor force grew by nearly 58,000 people, even as layoffs swept the real estate and tech industry, people claiming unemployment declined by 9,500 over the course of 2022. So we are growing, continually growing, and there are jobs out there. So it's going to be funny. Yeah, Jackie, you were called a name when you asked for some numbers on that one. That guy, Jackie made a really nice comment saying, well, actually, I sell homes in that development. Here's what's going on. Here's what we're seeing. And he just gave her a one-word slap down. I thought, well, that's really classy, rather than say, well, actually, here's what I see. I think he showed his true colors. Non-price related efforts are much more important now. Got to put in effort to clean up and make the home desirable. Your video walkthrough of the house is very informative. Thank you. Boy, Commander, I am surprised every week at what I see. I mean, I walk in and go, I don't think they want to sell this house. And people that have toured with me have heard me say that. They're not putting a very good effort in. You have to look past the dirt. You have to look past the clutter. We looked at one last week and I said, it seems like every house we go into, these people have a love for really large furniture, these great big couches that take up the entire living room. And you're always saying, excuse me, while you're walking through the house because there's no room. This house had huge furniture in every room. And a lot of them, they leave a lot of personal photos up. Look, if you're going to list your house, admit it. You're going to move. Go ahead and start packing. Take the picture of Uncle Bob and Aunt Mary off the wall because people feel uncomfortable when they're in there. They feel like they're intruding. They can't wait to get out. So I have a funny story about that too. And Jackie says, I offered to give him a day of my time, help him get the true numbers out. He didn't seem to care about that. I think this is doing extreme demand. We might be in trouble when that opens up. I hope not. A lot of things can change between now and then. I was showing a townhome a while back, several years ago, and I'm walking through the hall and I just kind of glanced at the photo and I got, God, that kid looks familiar. And then it's a townhome and I go in and we go back in the office that the guy had in the office here. And I look and I go, oh my God, that's my stepson. I was showing his dad's place. I sent a message to my wife. Yeah, I'm showing your ex-husband's house. I'm walking by these pictures going, God, that kid looks familiar. Small town. So anyway, look, everybody stay inside and stay dry today. I'm looking out there. It looks like it's supposed to continue this all day till like 8 o'clock tonight. And, but we just had intense wind and thunderstorms blow through here about 2 hours ago. And it was really bad at about 4 a.m. So I just got up at 4:30. I thought, why fight it? So so maybe I'll take a nap later today. Anyway, everybody take on the day. Have a great rest of the week. Take care.